Okay, so that's turned on. Now I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started here.
How he gonna give me my coffee and not mix it?
Okay, you guys should be seeing my screen. Are you seeing this agenda now?
You can't get it right every time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, again, appreciate everybody joining. And you know, the intent of today's meeting is to just help everybody get the basics, the things that you kind of just have to know about SalesNexus in order to make it work for you. Get those well in hand. And like I said before, we'll try to address your questions towards the end. But that being said, don't be shy about interrupting me and asking questions in context too. That's fine. If you're, you know, most people that use SalesNexus fall into one of two different categories. Either you're in some kind of a e-commerce like business where you really don't ever or very seldom, you know, actually speak to your customers on the phone or face to face, and you're really just trying to automate all the follow-up. You know, when somebody places an order or signs up or becomes a member, you want to automatically send them messages and nurture them and so on and so forth. Or the other category would be you're in a business, more of a B2B type business, where most of the significant transactions take place after a salesperson or some representative of your company talks to the customer. And and then in that case, your goal is to try and automate everything else and make it super efficient for those people to manage as many relationships effectively as they can. So if you fall into one of those two categories, then you're in the right place. We're going to show you how to do that today. And of course, if you don't, I'd love to hear about your specific needs, and maybe there's some unique things that SalesNexus does that we probably won't get into today. We're going to try to stay focused on the things that are most used within SalesNexus, but there's a lot that we won't touch on. Okay, so in order to get that done in SalesNexus, to organize your customers and automate all of the outbound communications and make your sales team as efficient as possible, what you have to do in SalesNexus is first organize and group all your customers. So come up with ways to sort of segment customers in the ways that are meaningful to you. So rather than just the obvious, you know, leads, prospects, customers, past customers, right? Everybody knows they have to do that. But there's a difference between some prospects and other prospects, right? And the difference in your business is based on things that I wouldn't care about in my business, right? And so that's the power of SalesNexus. We're going to show you how to customize it so you can really group your customers based on those things that really matter to you. And then we're going to trigger action based on that new information. You know, so when you tell me that you don't need the small size trailer, you need the big size trailer with the mud tires or whatever, that automatically makes you a super awesome prospect for what I sell. And so you go on a special follow-up campaign, right? Now, before we jump in, just want to make sure everybody knows we're available to help in all kinds of different ways. If you go to salesnexus.com/support, you'll see all our training videos there. So, you know, 24/7 on demand, every little part of the application, there's a 3 to 5 minute video that'll show you how it works. So take advantage of that. Also in the app, when you're logged on, in the bottom right, you see the little chat button. So that's where you can access our knowledge base. And so if I type in email template, because I'm creating my first email template, there's a whole bunch of knowledge base articles that you can access and open up. And there's screenshots and videos and everything. So it's real helpful information. And then finally, you can access support by just emailing support@salesnexus.com. That opens up a ticket in our support system. And the important thing to know is you're not gonna have the same experience you're used to having with our competitors. Our average response time, average reply time is less than 2 hours, and the average resolution time, meaning your ticket is closed, your problem solved, you're back to work, is less than a day. So take advantage of that. There's no limits. You know, we're not going to tell you you've asked too many questions. So we're always there to help you. Also, we have some services. So if you feel like you need some help getting things set up, getting your data loaded, getting your team trained, we have some services available that will help you as well. So just reach out to one of us and we'll be happy to tell you about that. And then finally, if you're willing to give us a review, we'd really appreciate that. If you don't mind, I will put the link to give us a review on Facebook, which is kind of what we're focused on right now, in the chat. And when you do, we'll definitely give you a reward. So if you're not already on our highest version, then we'll upgrade you. And if you are on our highest version, then we'll give you a free user. So take advantage of that. We really appreciate the reviews. That helps other people find us. And it's great feedback for us too. Okay, so let's get into it. So like I said, organizing the customers is the key. And in SalesNexus, the way we do that is we lay out these fields on the screen. You know, so over here on the right, you can see I have a tab for somebody that's in the insurance business. And you can see I have a whole bunch of different examples here in my demo database. So that I can show people in different industries how SalesNexus might look for them. But the point is, you're not stuck with what's already here. You can customize all of this so that the things that you care about are front and center and everything else is out of the way. So the way you do that is you go here on the left side, you see the little orange edit layout button. So you click that. And then what you see here is this on the left is all the fields in your database. And over here on the right is the ones that are displayed on the screen right now. So if I don't care about this real estate related stuff that I put in there in a previous demo, I can take that out. And then, you know, I'll go down here and find type of building, type of equipment, type of generator. Maybe I'm in some sort of manufacturing type business. And those are the things I need to know about my customers, right? So I save that. And now you see those fields are here, right? Right on the main customer screen. So that I can easily, while I'm talking to the customer, I got my phone in one hand and my mouse in the other, just point, click, and update that data. And every time I do, that could be triggering some automated follow-up process. So you can update the layout on the left, and then you can update the layout on the right as well by just going to any of these tabs that are already in your system and just clicking on edit layout or copy layout or whatever. And it works the same way. Now, if the fields that are already in your account are not enough, you need some other fields. You just go up here to settings and then organize and customize. And here you have all the fields that are already in your account. You can click on any of them and change their properties, right? So if I want to change the drop down for this bedrooms field, I just go here and I can either remove things from it or add new ones. Or right here, I can say add new field and create a new field. And I just give it a name, and I can make it a currency field or a date, and it'll have a calendar pop up, a URL that's clickable, or when you make it a phone number, it'll be clickable to dial your phone. if you want it to be a drop down, or like a pick list, some people call it, you make it character, and you come down here and you say is drop down, and then you have some other options. Multi-select is a really powerful one. And then once you save it, then you can put in the values in the drop down. So that's how you customize the fields in SalesNexus so that you can really organize things the way you want to organize them. Anybody have any questions about that so far? Let me make sure I let everybody in the meeting here.
Craig, it's Nick. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Craig, can you hear me?
Yeah, barely. Let me turn my mic up a little bit, or my speaker. Try again.
He asked a question in the chat.
Oh,
It
okay.
says, does the program offer all-in-one email tracking that shows open clicks per contact?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Great question. Thanks, Nick. Thank you. I think that was Erica for the clarification. Yeah. So I will show you that in just a little bit, Nick. So we'll get into that. So just bear with me a little bit. While we're on the topic of customizing things, the one thing I wanted to be sure that we talk about is, now we've got these fields so that we can, when I'm looking at a customer, I can update and categorize them, right? Like we looked at. But you want now to have some kind of lists where you can easily go in and say, show me all my prospects, or show me all my clients, or like we've been talking about, something much more specific, show me new leads that are looking for asphalt or whatever, whatever is important in your world. So the way you set up these saved lookups, we call them, is you go here to contacts and then create lookup. And you just start putting in your criteria. So earlier we were looking at, type of equipment, right? So I want to do type of equipment is fast food. And maybe they're in a certain state, right? Let's say they're in Florida and they're in the fast food business. So I can set my criteria. You can see you can have 8 different criteria. And then I do my search, which I don't know if I'll get anything back, but let me pull up one that we already have. And you see how that works, right? You set the criteria. Then once you have it set up, you hit save and you give it a name. And now it's going to appear in that drop down, right? So that's all there is to it. It's pretty simple. One thing I'll note real quick that you'll want to use eventually is right here. By default, the system not only saves the criteria of the search or the query, but it's also saving the columns that are included in the results. So when you perform this search right here, these columns are also getting saved so that you can change them. So if you want to see, instead of, their account number and their address here, right? There's some other field that's really important when you're looking at your prospects. You need to know something else about them, right? So I can go down here and I can find that same type of equipment field or type of pump or whatever, add that in, take out address and account number, and do the search again. And now you see those new fields here, right? Or new columns. Now when I save it, it's going to save those columns too, so that when I go to contacts and view all contacts and then choose that list, I'll get those same columns. So you can now, once you get all these kind of saved the way you want them, you can sort of flip between different lists and the columns change as you change lists. And that can be super handy because, there's things you need to know about your customers that you don't need to know about your prospects, right? Okay. Any questions about any of that so far? Let's see.
You just have to stay consistent in how you label your layout for each customer in order to do all that.
That's true. And actually, we have a guide that we call the 4 Steps to Market Domination that really walks you through how to think about what are the fields I really need to have in my database and how do I want to organize things. And so if you'd like to get a copy of that, while we're talking here, I'll try to find that link and put it in the chat. But the short version of that story is if you just sit down and write down the list of things that you would ask a prospect if you were talking to them the first time and you're kind of qualifying them, right? Like if you referred your brother-in-law to me and, said, hey, they really need a CRM, right? When I got on the phone with the brother-in-law, there's some things I would ask him to know, is this potentially a great account for SalesNexus or not, right? I would ask him how many sales people he has and what business he's in and, if they're using some other CRM and a few other things, right? In your business, it's different things, but you know what those questions are. Create fields for the answers to those questions, and that'll get you at least 80% of the way there. Okay, so now let's get to Nick's question. So now we've kind of got our customer lists organized. One thing that I'll just touch on briefly is if you want to import new customers, right, or leads or whatever, you go to contacts, import, and here you'll upload your CSV. And there's a lot of features and options there. If you guys have questions about that, we can come back to it later. But I want to hit the other high points first. So once we have everything organized, then we want to create campaigns that can be, keeping you in front of all those different lists of people or groups of people. So you go up here to campaigns and you go to email templates. And here you have all of our pre-designed templates that you can start with and, just replace the text and the images with your stuff and make it your own. Or you go to my templates and that's where you'll find everything that you previously created. What I'm going to do is go to choose a design. I'll just start with this text only email and I'm going to give it a name here. And then it just opens it up in our editor. And in the editor, it's real easy to use. It's drag and drop. There's a few things though that you need to know, and I don't want you to have to learn it all the hard way. Basically, so right now all I have is this text block. So when I click into the text, that's when I get the formatting toolbar. So if I want to bold text or change the font or the color or whatever, I have to first click in here and then you'll see all those controls, right? And of course I can type in or copy, paste in text. And also right here you have merge tags. So, I'm in a business where I have annual contracts with my customers, right? So I want to create an email that's going to go out to them 60 days prior to their renewal, right? Your account renews on, and then I would go here to merge tags. And under contact field, I choose the renewal date, right? And it puts in the code for that field. So pretty simple. In this way, you can put, thousands of people on a campaign, but each email is going to be personalized for that individual, right? Now, if you want to add more to your email, you go over here to content and just click on that. And now you can drag over all these different types of content. So if I want to put an image, I drag that over, put it there. And now I can browse, and you'll first see everything that you've already uploaded to SalesNexus, or you can upload a new image over here. I'll just put in this nice little safe. And over here, I can uncheck that little box or radio button, and that lets me then get this slider so that I can resize that image and make it fit the way I want. And then, you have the other controls for that image over here on the right. So if I want to link that image to a web page, right, so that when they click it, they go to a web page, I would put that URL right here. If I click back on content, I can now drag over a button, let's say. So I put in my button and I change the text. And then over here on the right, I would paste in my URL that I want that button to take them to, right? So pretty easy. Once you have it ready to go, you want to save it. And then there's a couple of other things when you're sort of ready to go to the next step that you need to know about. And those are under this actions menu here. So first, you want to preview your email. So you can see it just shows you what it's going to look like, but make sure and check the mobile view over here. Click mobile. Now you get that mobile view. And that's important. At least half of your emails will be looked at on a mobile device. And sometimes when you're doing a lot of stuff with graphics and things like that, they can just cause some weird formatting on the mobile device. So you just want to double check it. Then you can hit the X to go back. And then you can go to actions. And here you can send test also. So that means just send it to me so I can look at it in my inbox, right? So you put in whatever email you want, hit send, and now it's going to show up in your inbox. And then again, under actions, save as template, that lets you save a copy of that email. So if I'm creating an ongoing drip campaign and I want to design a template so that they all look the same, they have my branding and the same layout, and I just change the text within each email, this is the perfect way to do it. Just save a new copy of that email, and it's going to open it up in the editor, and now I'm editing that second copy, and I can change the text as needed. So once we have our email ready to roll, then over here you have start campaign with this template. So you click that, and it's going to ask you to put in a subject line and give it a name, just for your own organization purposes. And so now we're in our campaign builder. So now if all you're wanting to do is send one email out to some list of people, then we're basically done here. There's nothing else we really need to do. If you're wanting to create more of an ongoing sequence, then that's really where the power of SalesNexus is. And what you do is you go down here and you just add new elements into the campaign. So you can add emails, tasks, calls, meetings, text messages, and webhooks. So I'm just going to add another email, and see here, you put in the sequence. So maybe I want to send that 3 days after the first one. And then I'll put in a subject and choose my template just by typing in whatever I named it. And I hit save. And now you see how that works. Now I've got a 2 email sequence. And you can keep going. There's no limits on how many steps in the sequence. Maybe next I want to send them a text message. So I say add, and I'm going to do that on the 5th day, let's say. And you can create new templates, or use existing ones. I'm just going to find one that we've already created and grab that message. And you see, same thing. You can insert mail merge fields in your message, in your text message, just by using these drop downs over here. So let's save that. That puts our text message in there. And now maybe the last thing I want to do is call them. So I'm going to add a call to the sequence. And here you can choose, what it's about. Maybe it's a cold call, let's say. So I'm going to put 7 as 7 days, meaning. So now we got a 4-step drip. We're going to email them twice, and then text them, and then call them, right? So now, then you want to save it. And now you have 2 options. If we just want to take a list and put them all on this campaign right now, we would do save and begin campaign. If we want to automate it so that new leads coming into the system automatically go on to this campaign, then we would go to automate campaign. Let's just do the save and begin campaign for starters. So here you'll set the date and time. So if I want to do it tomorrow morning, that's when that first email in the sequence is going to go out. Then I would choose that here. And then you see how it says current lookup 4,094. That's because that last list that I pulled up was 4,094 people. So it's kind of the working list in the system memory. But so if I want to put that list on to this campaign, then all I do is hit begin campaign. Or you can choose here, save lookup, and choose any of those lists that we talked about earlier, those saved lookups, right? So I choose the right one, and it's going to tell me how many people I'm sending it to. And I say begin campaign. Yes. And that's it. It's set it and forget it. I could literally be on vacation for the next week, and those emails and text messages are going out. So then you go here, Nick, you go to campaigns, view campaigns, and here's where you'll see all the results. So these are all of your campaigns that you've ever sent, and you can see, how many emails were sent and how many opens and clicks in this view. Let me get one where we have some data here in my demo database, and I'll click into this one. And you can see how here, now you're going to see, more details, a graph of opens and clicks and all of that stuff that I think you were asking about. A couple of things while we're on this that are real powerful. Number one, right here, I can just choose what do I want to see? Like if I just want to see the people that clicked on this campaign, I click right there, and there's the one person that clicked on those emails, right? Or if I want to see everybody that opens, that's what you'll see by default. Or maybe the people that bounce, so I can, click into those contacts and give them a call and get an accurate email for them, right? Whatever list you choose, another one that's handy actually is recipients without email action, meaning these are the people that didn't do anything. They didn't open or click or anything, right? So maybe you want to call them or send them something else, or, reach out to them a different way. So now, whatever list I've chosen, let's do opens, because that's, we at least get 7 people there. I can go make lookup and say, make all 7 contacts my lookup. And now go up here to contacts, view lookup. And now I'm looking at the list of people that opened those emails, and I can, do something with that list, put them on another campaign maybe, or just click into them and start calling them, right? So let me pause there. Anybody have any questions about the emails, the campaigns, etc.? Let's see. Okay, let's keep going. Actually, one other thing that I wanted to make sure and point out, I forgot to in the campaigns. I'm going to open up this campaign that we've just created. And when you're adding the steps into the campaign, up here at the top, it says from address. And by default, it's going to be current user. And it'll have your name. What that really means is whoever uses the campaign at any moment, the from email will be that user's email address, right? But you have some other options. In some cases, maybe you want to make sure that that email always comes from Kathy, right? No matter who activates the campaign or uses it or whatever. In other cases, you want to make sure that the emails come from each customer's sales rep, right? So that you do by choosing Contacts Record Manager, because the record manager is the field we use to designate who's the owner of that contact, that company, that lead. This can be a good way to allow you to go in and say, you know, show me all of my prospects and put them on this campaign, right? But I don't want to send all the emails from Kathy or me. I want to send them from each person's salesperson, right? So now all at once, I can send an email blast out to 900 people or however big your list is. And the system's going to figure out that, you know, Nick owns these customers, so they're all going to get emails from Nick. And Erica owns these other customers, and they're all going to get emails from Erica, right?
And just to clarify, they're going to show on your campaign list and that other sales rep campaign list, right?
Yeah, well, so that's a good question. There's a lot of ways you can kind of monitor the progress of the campaign as it goes out. So when you look at a contact and you go over here to activities, pick the bad one. Let me do this. I know I have some better data here. Let me click into one of these guys. So over here on activities, right, on the right side, this is where you see any tasks that are currently scheduled for this contact that have not yet been done, or what we call completed or cleared, including emails, right? So if we've scheduled that campaign, the emails that have not yet been sent will be shown here, right? But then also you can go to notes, and here you'll see the history of any email that has already been sent, like this one, right? So that's how you see what's going on, what has been sent and what is yet to be sent, but scheduled for a given contact. But then separately, when you go into view campaigns and you drill into the details like we were looking at earlier, here you're looking across all the different sales reps, the whole team basically. But there are some security controls that I may be over answering your question, but there are some security controls where you can set it up so that, number one, if you don't want, your sales team can't even get to this page. And number two, if they can get to it, the only thing they're going to see is their own contacts, nobody else's. That answer your question?
Sure did.
Thank you. Okay, so now, like we talked about earlier, when you're creating those campaigns, sometimes you want to automate them, right? So let's just go back there. So now we're looking at this campaign and I want to automate it, right? So I click automate campaign. And it's going to open up our automation plans. Slowly but surely. There we go. And here you can see it already has that campaign in here. And what I do here is I just set the criteria. And it's very much like creating a lookup like we did earlier. So I just go here and I say contact fields, if, renewal date, like to our example earlier, right? If renewal date is less than 1 month from now, and their status is client or member or whatever, right? Then it's automatically going to trigger this campaign, right? And if you want, you can add sales fields in there. So if you're using the sales pipeline part of things, if the product that you're selling them happens to be a certain product, they can go on a certain campaign. If the amount happens to be over a certain amount or less than a certain amount, they go on a special campaign. Then you save it. And then here you have all the other automations that you've set up, and you can quickly see which ones are actually activated or turned on right now. And over here on the right, you'll see which ones are actually, when's the last time they fired, meaning somebody got put on that campaign. Anybody have any questions about the automation part of things? Let's go back through that, but in a slightly different way, because I want to make sure everybody knows about how to connect SalesNexus to your website. So if you go up here to settings and then go to integrations and then website, here you'll map SalesNexus fields to the fields in the form on your website, your contact us or request a quote or sign up here or apply now or whatever it is that you're asking people to do on your website. So under step one, first thing is you choose the fields. And here you're choosing the SalesNexus fields that correlate to the fields in your form, right? So just like all the other places this comes up, this is the list of all the fields you have in SalesNexus. And over here on the right is the ones that will be included in this form. And you can see you can use contact fields and also sales fields. Once you've done that, you save it. And then here, now we have all those SalesNexus fields here. And then what we do is we map it to whatever that field is called in your web form, right? And so, it might be literally this simple. Lines like that. And then here you see lead source and status. Those are fields that aren't in the form, but I included them here because I want to make sure when somebody fills out that form and they get added to my database, I want to know that they came from the form, right? So I'm going to set lead source. I'm going to turn this one to constant, and then I'm going to put new lead here. And so what that's saying is no matter what they put in these other fields in the form, always the lead source will be set to new lead. And then the same thing with the status. I'm going to do constant and make it, or wait, I got that backwards. Sorry. I'm going to make that new lead, and lead source would be website or something like that, right? Enroll and size. And there, we have a really robust help article on this so that you can figure out how to get these names if you don't know how, or just reach out to us for help. But once you've got it ready, you hit save and generate script. Oh, first I forgot to put in a name. And yeah, it's not going to let me do this here in my demo database, but that's okay. Normally what would happen is I would get a little JavaScript that I can copy. And then you go to your web form and you put that JavaScript in there so that when the visitor hits submit, that calls the JavaScript, and that puts the lead into SalesNexus. Anybody have any questions about that? And what will happen is something like this. What you see here, Adam, and it says new web lead, right? So when I click in there, you know, my lead source is website and my status is new lead, and whatever else he filled into that form will be in the appropriate fields, right? Some people like to do something like this as well, have a little website leads tab on the right. So whatever they put in the form will always be right there. So you can go back and reference that. But then in addition to that, we've also got to create an automation. So let me see. Yeah, new submission. So we'll open that one up and I'll show you a little bit of an example. So, you know, it might be if you're in the mortgage business, if your loan status is new submission and your loan amount is greater than 50,000, you want to put them on this special campaign, right? Or in the case of just a simple web form on your, you know, for leads on your website, we might say if the lead source is, you know, new lead or website, right? And the status is new lead. Then we want to put them on our, you know, web lead response campaign, right? So you see how those fields that we set as the constants become really important in the automation, right? And now everybody that fills out that form goes right into SalesNexus and automatically goes on the right follow-up campaign. Anybody have any questions about that? Let's see, related to that, well, related to kind of just the big picture of, okay, now we're, you know, we got our customers organized, we got campaigns going out, we got people filling out forms on our website and they're going right into the CRM and everything. The goal really is that here on the task list, each sales rep can come in and see exactly what they need to do today, right? And call the right people at the right time and do it efficiently and effectively, right? And so let me show you a little bit about how that works. First, you go up here to tasks, view task list. That's how you get here. And you can see we have a lot of different stuff going on here. There's Adam that was, you know, he filled out that form on the website. Bob's, you know, it says here, opportunity follow-up. Most likely I already sent him a quote and I'm, you know, calling to close the deal, right? Matt's a click notification. You can see Adrian and Al are also click notifications. That's a really powerful feature especially for prospecting with cold or, sort of lukewarm leads. And the way that works is when you're creating those campaigns, you may have noticed I have these check boxes here that I can check off. I can get a notification when somebody opens or clicks my email. I don't recommend turning on the open notification because you're going to get a lot of them, number one. And number two, it's not necessarily a great signal of interest. All it means is they glanced at your email. Doesn't mean they really read it or anything. But a click is a pretty good sign, right? Because especially in a B2B sense, they opened it, they read it, they clicked on a button to go to your website, right? You don't do that with emails unless you have a genuine interest, right? So it can be a pretty good buy sign, right? Looks like we lost somebody. So let me, so if we check that off there, that means I'm going to automatically get a notification when somebody clicks on my email. If I don't want to have to log on to SalesNexus to see those notifications, then you check here, email the click notification. So this means notify me in SalesNexus. This means send me an email. But that's what this will look like here, right? When they start happening. And, it works. It's a great prospecting tool, but it doesn't work if you let too much time go by. That's why it's so important to use these notifications. If that's part of your, prospecting plan, is you're going to send out emails to kind of warm them up a little bit. Your salespeople, if they get this click notification and they call them the same day, it works, right? Because they'll remember. They may even still have your website up, right? But if you wait until they've slept and they've played with the kids and everything else that they do, and tomorrow they got another inbox full of spam and whatever, right? They're hardly going to remember seeing your email. So that's why turning on these notifications is really important, because it allows the salespeople to see them in real time and jump on it, right? So let me show you. Let's take that a little deeper. It's first thing in the morning, just had my coffee. I'm ready to get to work and make my calls, right? So here are my calls for today. I click in and add them to web lead. So maybe that's my, first priority, right? So he told me he's looking for portable generators in the web form, but that's all I really got from him, right? So I click and it dials my phone. And I get Adam on the phone and I can start asking him all the other questions I need to ask him, and start filling out the answers, right? And hopefully an automation is triggered based on what I just put in. So I can just hit next and go to the next guy on the list. So now I'm on Bob, and in this case, he's already a hot opportunity. So I click this, I'm calling to close the deal, right? So I click and I dial, and maybe in this conversation, he says, hey, Craig, do you have something you can send me about the blah, blah, blah? Because I want to share it with my CEO or something, right? So I hit email template, and here I have all my pre-designed templates that I can just grab and hit send, and out they go. And then I go back to Bob and I hit next, and I go to the next guy on the list and do it again, right? So you can see, once you get things organized, you can get through your call list very quickly. Everything you need to know about your customers is right here. You notice as I work with each customer, I'm not jumping around going through three or four different screens, right? when I click to call, automatically this little dialogue will come up. And this lets me sort of disposition the call, right? This was a cold call and I left a message, right? So in that case, I want to save with follow-up because I want to be reminded to call them again tomorrow, right? So now I save that, and now that's going to be on my task list tomorrow. And then I hit next, and I go to the next guy and do it again, you know? And if I get them on the phone, I might, you know, put in some notes, right? And then that's going to be over here for me and the team to reference, right? Any notes that have been added to Gordon's record. So that's kind of the goal when we're doing, you know, outbound calling to customers. It can be really powerful, you know, cold calling, following up with existing clients. It can also be really useful in a customer service sense as well. You know, you might have customers that you haven't heard from and, you know, they haven't placed an order in 6 months, right? So you want to have somebody reach out to them and try to re-engage them, right? Anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah, Craig, I was going to ask you, is it just Ring Central, or you can use another? I think I can use another like VoIP system and just hook it up with Zapier, right?
Well, you don't even need to use Zapier for that. You just go here to settings and then my settings. And this is where each user will just kind of configure things for themselves. And one of those options is VoIP settings. And here we have Ring Central and Jive, which is now called GoToConnect, are already integrated. So you just choose which one and you hit the settings and you put in your credentials, right? If you choose none, then basically it'll work with any, let me make sure I say this clearly. It will work with any phone software that you've installed on your computer that you've set as the default phone application. Does that make sense?
I've done that already. Actually, I'm
Okay.
actually using Open Phone, an app, because I live in Ireland. I'm trying to run a US-based business. I don't know if you've heard of Open Phone.
No,
they're a good one.
Well, anyway, I set up this. I built a flow, you know, when I was using Claude.ai to help me. Someone from Open Phone gave me some directions to do it with Zapier, but I have active pieces. If you've ever heard of that, it's kind of the same thing as Make and Zapier. So I built this flow, but it's killing me. I've been testing it and testing doing these test calls to the same number, actually American Express customer service, just to get somebody talking, you know.
right.
But I haven't got the notes to go into I put American Express in there as a record, you know, in my account, but I haven't got the note to go in yet, and I haven't done this setting thing that you just showed me here, and maybe that's why. But it does show up in it, like when I did a test a couple of times in the notes section there, not in the actual contact record, but in the notes, you know, across the menu.
Okay.
It showed up as a test. So I nearly got it working. And I wish I could, because, you know, it transcribes the call, it summarizes the call, and it records the call. And I'd love that info to just go straight into my SalesNexus record and just go from call to call to call, you know, that way.
Sure.
You know, I just don't want to have to start. I guess I'll go with Ring Central if I have to, or One Connect One, or whatever it's called. But I'd rather just kind of go with what I have if it's possible.
Sure.
And I guess maybe I should just do the Zapier, but it shouldn't really matter. Zapier active pieces, it should be able to work with active pieces, I'd say.
Well, we haven't actually integrated our system with all of those other competitors to Zapier.
Yeah.
so but it sounds like you're pretty conversant with all that stuff. So maybe you can make it work. I mean, we have an open API, so it can be made to work. But with Zapier, we're already on there. You don't have to do the API part. It's just drag and drop, right?
Maybe I should just use Zapier and not mess around with that. I should have just done that from the start. But.
And the other thing is with Ring Central, that's the only phone option that we support for the text messages, right? So if sending the text messages is part of your plan, that's really the only option.
Oh, right. So this won't work for texts through anyone else.
Not without Ring Central.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. Maybe I'll just switch to Ring Central, make it easier.
Yeah, I mean, Ring Central's pretty robust. We've been using it as our, company phone system for years and been real happy with it. But and you can do the same thing with Zapier. You can set up the call recordings to come over and all that stuff,
Great. Okay.
Hey, Craig.
Yes, sir.
What's your experience been recently with Ring Central, though? I've had an ongoing discussion with them for the last couple days. They offered me a deal and stuff, but when I looked into the fine print, like they would tell me verbally, but they were reluctant to put it in writing. And I know that they've changed ownership. Like I think it's RingX now instead of Ring Central. You're saying you still have a positive experience with them?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean about the agreement and stuff. You're talking about just sort of negotiating the price with them?
Well, okay. So, I mean, they've offered me a really good bundle and that's all cool and groovy. And they offered me like a 60-day option to try out all of the options. But when I looked, like they insisted that I had to sign, like they sent me a DocuSign agreement, whatever. But when I looked at the fine print, what they were telling me verbally was not reflected in the contract itself. And I told them, I will not sign this unless you specify this in writing. Well, and they just kept giving me the royal runaround. And
I don't know. I mean, I've been, what my experience has been that they are, as these kind of companies go, these phone companies, a lot of them, you can never even get an actual human being on the phone to talk to, right?
Yeah.
With Ring Central, at least you can. And that also applies on the support side. They've been pretty good with support if you need help,
Okay.
But in terms of negotiating the contract terms, I never even tried that. So I don't really know about that piece. One thing you might look for, they do have a pretty good reseller network in the US and Canada, so if you work through one of their VARs, maybe you're going to get a little better, business capabilities, I guess.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure. Let's see. Well, what other questions do you guys have?
I've got one more. Oh, no, go ahead. The other person, because I've already asked one.
I got a quick question, Craig. I also use Open Phone and love it. And part of my hesitation is not really being excited about the idea of working with Ring Central. They just seem a little old and outdated, and I've heard some mixed reviews about them. I guess my question is, do you have like some exclusive agreement with them, or are you open to the possibility in the future of maybe, opening up other collaborations with other companies that I might be able to facilitate even?
Yeah, no, we're absolutely open to that. It's just one of those things where, we haven't prioritized integrating with other phone companies over other stuff that we want to do to the application, right?
Okay.
But, technology's evolved a lot and it's gotten a lot easier, right? And so, like the other gentleman was bringing up, I think it's probably pretty easy now using some of these tools that are out there, Make or whatever, to connect with just about anything. So anyway, the short answer to your question is absolutely, we're open to it.
Cool.
So
there's
that being
there's
said, then,
workaround.
Craig, is that something that we would have to hire you to do, or is that something that you would do and offer it as a universal option for all of your clients?
Well, it's something that we are looking at as something that we need to add more options for sure. I've never heard of open phone until this conversation, right? So it wasn't one of the ones that we're looking at until today, right? So now we'll have to throw that into the mix. And the right now I can't commit to any of them or give it a timeline. It's just one of those things that's on our radar screen of we're going to have to address this here and then not in the medium term, let's say.
Yeah.
So Craig, if I'm on the phone with someone, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm scheduling an appointment, I can put them into a flow, right, that I build in SalesNexus there that will, send them an email, then it'll send them a reminder, and
Yeah.
I guess a string of reminders. That's easy enough. I'll figure it out. I figure it has to be possible. I just want to confirm.
Sure. And, for the most part, you'll do it just like we looked at earlier when, you'll have like here on this record, you see call status and call result, right? So if I set this to appointment set, right, then that can automatically trigger the flow.
Oh, perfect. And I'm sorry I was late for the call and I shouldn't be.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to waste anyone's time. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you would create. So the two steps you have to do in addition to having this field where you designate, kind of the status is you need to create a campaign that is the flow, right?
Right.
And then separately create an automation that says when call status is set to appointment set, put them on this flow or this campaign.
Perfect. Great stuff. Okay.
And we'll get you access to the recording of this so you can see how we did that earlier.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I have one more question if no one else has one.
I just have a quick one. When you're enriching contacts through using the up button, I see that it seems to just do the page. Is there any way to see what contacts you've enriched previously so that you're not doing the same task over and over again?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I honestly kind of think there is a way to do that, but I'm not sure what it is. Let me just check here real quick and see if I can't stumble into it easily. Yeah. Okay. See this field right here? RUID?
Yeah.
If that is not blank, then it's been updated by the enrichment.
Say that again. If it's not blank?
Right. If it's blank, it means we've never updated it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
okay, perfect.
if I do this search, right? These are not blank, right? Do that search. There's 1,700 people in the database.
Oh, okay.
That haven't been updated yet. So I could, so to go back and for everybody else, because Noelle, I'm glad you asked that question. I forgot to really get into that earlier. So you're in SalesNexus, you have the contact enrichment built in, and everyone's account lets you do a certain number per month per user, 100, 200, 300 per user per month. And the way that works is when you're on a list like this, you see the little up button. So I hit, actually, let me do a different list because I don't want to mess up all my demo stuff. Let me try that list. There we go. So here I have a list of people. names, phone numbers, emails, but I don't have much else on them, right? So I go up here and I say up, and that's going to match those with our B2B contact database. And you see it found all 5 of them, and fill in, titles and missing phone numbers, addresses, all the missing data that you don't already have for that contact. It'll include mobile numbers in probably 45% of the cases, social profile links and all of that stuff. You can also do it on the contact record. You see the little up button here. That's another way, Noelle, to know. See how it's gray?
Yep.
That tells me I've already updated this contact.
Okay.
If it's green, it means they haven't been updated yet.
Okay.
Craig, I was just wanting to ask about the users. I think I've got 20 user accounts.
Okay.
So would that be one user account for like employee, or is it just if I wanted to run 20 different businesses? How does that work?
Typically, the way it gets used is it's one user account per employee, because the way to think about it is, number one, every user has their own task list, right? So if you want to delegate tasks out to multiple different people, they each need to be a user, right?
Right.
And then number two, when you look at the notes and the history of everything with the customer, right? All of these notes, you see how they're all designated with a record manager. So you would be able to see that different people on your team did different things, right? And then you can report on that, of course, right? Show me a report of how many calls did each salesperson make today, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay. But if you wanted to run, say, two different businesses, you'd want to get 2 separate SalesNexus accounts, I guess.
Maybe, maybe not. It really depends on a lot of factors. So like we looked at in the beginning, if you go to contacts, view all contacts, you can create saved lists, right? So in your case, maybe instead of, active members versus prospective members, it might be, business A and business B, right? So you can segment the data within SalesNexus or within one account, right?
Okay.
So I don't know. That's kind of a judgment call that you have to make, depending if the simple way I think about that is, if all the businesses are going to be selling to the same customers frequently, then you probably want it all in one place. If they're going to be totally separate markets and they're very seldom going to cross over, then you might want separate accounts.
Oh yeah, because I have a few different kind of services all under the same umbrella, kind of the same company, really. So I guess, I would keep it all in the same.
Yeah,
Say,
probably.
like what years later, say down the road, if you want to sell your business, but it's running on SalesNexus, you could segment that off somehow to the new owner. There should be something you could do, right?
Yeah, for sure. So if, like, at a very simple level, here's all my prospects. Maybe this is all of my customers from business A, right? And I just go right here and I can export that list to an Excel file, right? If, just so everybody knows, we can also give you more of a complete backup of your database, meaning like with all the notes and the tasks and all of the details, more than just the contact list. And in that case, if you needed to, you could give us some criteria and say, here's the criteria to do a query to pull up just the customers for business A. Give me the whole backup for just that list. So that's an option.
And you can segment it off with all the flows and all the email sequences that you want to give to this company that you're selling your company to. You could do that somehow, obviously, right?
Yeah, that's another option. We could literally just kind of spin it off to another account that you give to them.
Perfect. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Let's see. What else? Let me check the chat here. There's Noel's question from a little bit earlier. Anybody else? Other questions?
Back to the record lookup, that up feature. I noticed the other day, or at some point I saw that you were given a demo and you showed that there was 2 ways to do it. You could do it where it has a free credit, or you could do it where you use a credit. And I thought that was interesting because I've never seen it give me an option to do a free credit. It only just does, one of the options for me. So I don't know if I need to activate something or what that is. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. And that's, I'm glad you asked because it's a little confusing right now. Long story short, our terms of business with Ramped Up, which is the actual provider of the business contact database, changed, and our help article hasn't been updated to reflect that. So now there's just one option. You get, like we talked about earlier, you get a certain number of credits every month that you can use, and they're built into your subscription and there's no cost, right? But whenever you say yes here, it's going to use a credit. There's no free option or no credit option, so to speak, right?
Oh.
So probably what you saw is some of our help materials or one of the videos or something that hasn't been updated yet.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks for explaining that. And then the only other question I'm thinking of right now, and it's kind of a silly question, it's just not that important, but I'm just curious as to why all the fields are allocated to the right instead of the left. And is there a way to allocate them to the left, or is it just because some of the stuff is dropped down where it had to stay in the middle of the screen, kind of?
You mean like they're kind of justified to the right, like this?
That's the word I was looking for, justified, to the right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're fixed for sure. You can't really move them around. And, kind of the way it's organized is you have this left side, which you can customize, but it will be the same no matter what contact you're looking at. And, but over here on the right, you can change to different tabs, right? So you have, the way most people use that is maybe each of these tabs might be for a specific product that you offer, right? Or maybe if you sell into different industries, there's slightly different, things that you need to know in those industries. And so you might have it organized this way, by industry.
I get that part.
Does that make sense?
Cool. Yeah, I was thinking more on the left-hand side as to how I imagine like the phone number would be moved over further to the left. I just visually see things better that way.
Sure.
But so I just was wondering if there was some logical reasons as to why it's in the middle. And it's not that important. That's why I felt like a silly question, but
no, that's a good question. We are working on a total overhaul of the whole UI right now, but end of this year really is the timeline for that.
Gotcha.
But while we're on that topic, the other thing that I see people kind of getting wrong a lot is up here on the top, all of this is also fixed. Everything above, everything from the email on up. So you got this is the contact field, this is the title field, and this is the company field. And then this is the phone field, and this is obviously the email field. So you don't need to add title and phone and company and all that stuff down here in your layout, right? When I go here to edit my layout, some people will just kind of by default go, oh yeah, well, of course I want the company name, but you really don't need it to put it in there because it's already on the page, right? So just FYI. What else? Other questions?
Craig, would that be valid for a CSV import though?
No.
So
No,
you would need to map the company and stuff for a CSV import.
Yeah, for sure. You got to get the data into the database, and then what we're talking about here is just where does it show up on the screen.
Oh, I see. Okay.
What else?
And
Any other questions?
There's no undo or reverse button if you accidentally do delete a database field wrong. Correct? I'm guessing.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. I learned that the hard way.
Greg, I got one more question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I build? I'm so sorry. I've kind of stepped away. I was getting kind of used to the program and the platform. Do you have landing pages? Can I build them here or no?
No, we don't have a landing page builder. You build your landing page in whatever system you want. You know, it could be a WordPress plugin, could be a landing page builder like Unbounce or ClickFunnels or something, you know.
Or just build it on my website, in my WordPress website.
Yeah, exactly. And
Perfect.
then what you do is you go up here to settings and then integrations and website. And here you'll choose the fields in SalesNexus that you want that form to populate. And then you'll map them to the form down here. And then you click save and generate script, and it gives you a little JavaScript that you put into the form so that when they hit submit, it automatically sends the data into SalesNexus.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, and on this page right here, see need help? That's where you're going to get the help article that really maps out all the details of how to do that. What else? Any other questions? Okay, well, appreciate everybody's time, and we went a little long today, but that's good. Good questions. We will we'll get the training video or the recording of today's session out to you. We're trying to change that and make it a little more of a system. So bear with me if it takes a couple of days, but we'll get you a link so that you can reference it. And then, of course, we'll be doing it again Friday at noon. So just a reminder, on Friday, it's a different time. It's at noon Eastern. And it'll be the same link. So feel free to join us again next week, Friday. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a great rest of the day. And if you need any help, please reach out to us.
Thanks, Craig.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. What? And what did she want?
Like when you guys got gas, the company charged her $100, not 50 initially, and then they were supposed to refund the balance. She said,
I'll talk to her.
yeah, she said that I couldn't quite understand the sequence of events, but she wanted to check with you about what you actually.
I pre-approved it at the pump.
Well, they never should have pre-approved. They don't charge.
Now I can't get through. Well, she's busy. 250-358. 362.
Yeah, the pre-approval they don't put on your card.
No,
So that
it's the
should show
final
up.
approval is what actually got pumped.
Yeah,
And now I can't get through to her.
yeah. So I'm not.
Ready to go?
Yeah. So what do we? Is there anything that we have to get? I talked to Sabina. I don't have to do the trip to co-op.
Okay.
So, like, do you need to come? No.
I know I do. I'm dropping
Oh, yeah.
stuff off at
Right.
SK, and I got to bring this into Phoenix.
That thing doesn't work.
No. So,
Right. Okay.
so I'm definitely coming with you.
So, I was just thinking though, if we don't have,
Give me the phone.
if we don't have anything else that has to be, that we have to do, and the other two things are, you can just do while I'm getting my hair cut.
Yeah.
Then we don't need to go in advance. So we could leave here at 1 instead of, 1:30. Okay.
Or we can just do some running around, maybe grab a lunch. I'd like to go to Kootenai Co-op and get some stuff there.
Oh,
It always
that's what I was
takes,
asking.
it always takes fucking longer, when you get into town. And so I'd just like to have enough time to do everything, and then we can come home straight away. So, yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
2 hours after there, they charge for $100.
Can you just grab that? Let me bring this into the other room.
Had a bottle, small bottle that had some of these in it. It was sitting here.
If it got moved, I would have just simply, if it's anything that's kind of in the way and we have company,
It was.
I put it on the shelf.
Look at it. He doesn't usually go out much.
No, but I don't know where he is. I think he's been sleeping upstairs of late. Very nice. You're so cute. You are, man. You are. Oh. Yeah, I don't know where your stuff got to.
What's the problem?
I'm trying to figure out. So that goes out to that's the inputs for